everyone, it's Knox. I'm a senior technical marketing architect for Carbon Black, and today we're going to talk about a new feature that is coming out in the new Linux sensor update. This is container visibility for EDR. So if you are an enterprise EDR customer, the new Linux sensor update that is coming out is going to allow you to see inside of the container engines running on your Linux machines and allow you to be able to get process monitoring, telemetry, and alerting from your containers. So this is a really big, really exciting new visibility that we're going to be able to add. And so I've set up a little demo today to walk us through this and to be able to help you better understand exactly how this works and just what exactly you're going to get. Now, before I go any further, let's look again here and let's explain this. So right here, I have a Linux machine. It is an Ubuntu 20 machine, and it has the Carbon Black Linux sensor installed on it, the new one with the container visibility feature inside. Now, when you're running containers on Linux, normally you're running Docker many times, but there are other options. You could be running container D or some other container engine. And all that container engine does is it spins up and destroys your containers and controls them. But now we'll not only be able to see the container engine itself, but we'll be able to look into that container engine and see the telemetry from what is inside. Now you may say, Knox, I don't have containers in my environment. And I would push back, because if you have an environment of any size that is running a lot of Linux machines, I feel like you have containers and you just don't know it. There are many applications nowadays. I think of things like Grafana or GitLab or Prometheus, many types of applications that now are packaged up, and many times the preferred method even is to run it in a container. And that doesn't mean that you have to run it on Kubernetes. You can just run it as a container inside of Docker or Containerd on a freestanding Linux VM, and that works totally fine. But from a security standpoint, in the past, you may not have had visibility or even known that someone within your organization or your environment had done that. And so I do have a feeling that when this capability, when you upgrade to this sensor, you may start to see things that you didn't know were there in your environment. You may start seeing containers that are running applications in your environment that you didn't know were there, and you're going to start getting the telemetry for all of them in the Carbon Black cloud. So let's look at what I have set up here. First of all, I have a little web page set up here. This is a little PHP container that I have running in an Ubuntu. I just kind of made a little joke here about, hey, vulnerabilities are real, and I have this set up on AWS so that only my external IP is allowed to visit this site. And so here is the Linux machine. It is an Ubuntu machine, and you can see I ran Docker PS, and this is a vulnerable image that I grabbed from VulnHub with PHP. So let's go ahead and try to run a little attack on this guy. So here, this attack takes a little more work than normal. I've got a PHP backdoor set up. It's gonna use my Kali box, and it's going to be on this port. Over on the Kali box, which I've logged into here, I am listening on port 5555. So let's go ahead and run this attack. Okay, and now let's go over here, and sure enough, we now have a reverse shell into this machine. Who am I? I am root. All right, so we now have root access to this machine. We are going to start running some commands on the machine. So let's get those commands to run. Oh, but I think now that I'm All right, so I've run this little command here to tell us what exists on this machine. This machine has PHP, it has Perl, it does have curl installed, which is great. We can use that curl command. So let's do that. All right, so now after I told it to not worry about the certificate, I told it to run this recon from GitHub. I had it grab the raw content from this is deep C, and I had it pipe to bash directly inside here. And I had it run this. This is a recon script to check for enumeration and escalation and escape and things like that from inside a container. And it has run that recon now, so that's good. That gets us a little bit of what we want. I'm even going to install Python on this thing because this container still has apt in it, which is probably not good. Now I'm up to a real bash shell. All right, so this is probably about as far as we need to go to try to trigger some alerts inside the Carbon Black cloud. Gonna run just one more command here. Okay, so what we've done is we have my little PHP container that I have running here. It's just running on a Ubuntu machine. We have run a script because we have a vulnerable version of PHP on the machine, and we have got a reverse shell to it from my Kali box, and we have run recon. We've even installed Python on it. And so now we'll go over and check the Carbon Black Cloud and see what we are able to see. All right, here we are in the Carbon Black Cloud console, and we can see that some new alerts have popped up from that machine that we just ran those commands on. So let's look at the first one here. The first thing we see is this process dash was detected by the report. Execution of a suspicious use of TCP UDP pseudo device. So we can see that right here. You can see what the parent process is, and we can see that the parent process is coming from that PHP container. And we can see here is the process that was run. So what it is it detected the reverse shell. So it sees here the reverse shell that we ran against that PHP container. And that's super cool. This is just a PHP web server. And we ran an attack against that server itself, and a flaw and a vulnerability in it, and it spawned a new process when we told it to run this reverse shell, and we were able to catch that from inside the container. And that is really cool. So now let's come up here and we'll do my favorite part, which is now we will click on the process tree. And here in the process tree, we will be able to start looking at what we want here. So we see that it was PHP back here. And we see that we have run C. Run C always tells you that you're dealing with containers. And that's as far back as that one will let us go right now. And now over here, we can see that we've got the little watch list symbols inside here. So we have watch list hits. So we're going to click on these guys and get them out. We can see this dash right here. If we go back over to the right, this is, again, that's that reverse shell that got us in there. This dash is also showing that reverse shell. And so we've got some different processes that we created. Click on dash here. And this is another bash interactive that it created. Well, shell interactive sh. Oh, and here we go. Look at this. There is all those commands you saw me running. There's the apt command. This is where we installed. This is nice. We even know that the nefarious Knox has installed things into the machine. And you can see the curl commands that I ran. And yep, even the curl command that was unsuccessful came in here because I ran that first curl command and I forgot to put the ignore certs in it. And the second one I had to run it with that K flag and it worked. But it still caught both of them. And then I installed Python and then it saw the Python 2.7. And then from here, we see that Python 2.7 spawned a bash shell. So this is really cool. So this is what I wanted to show you today. What we have, let's go all the way back to the beginning. And we see we have, with the new Linux sensor, the new release of the Linux sensor that is coming out here in August of 2023. If you have enterprise EDR, your Linux sensor, when you upgrade it in your machines, this feature will just exist in the updated sensor. And now you will have visibility into the container engine. And so, like we said, you will be able to start getting alerts off of your containers. You'll start seeing them. And as you can see here, I was able to trigger quite a few alerts by messing around inside there. All right, I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you're as excited about this new feature as I am. Thanks for watching.